The Baroness isn't sick, just a lab victim. The vet says her husband's kids are always mutants. Maybe that's why the Baron says time for another experiment. After that, the vet rescued a cow with a broken leg, now living high on mucky ditch water. Talk about a cow's turnaround. Now the vet's job is to help that poor cow out of its misery. Hart sees the water situation and is jolted, as if he stumbled upon the cow's family reunion photo. Suddenly, she remembers something crucial and rushes back to the bar to call the company. She learns a circumflex thorn quarter has no health history, losing teeth isn't his vibe. Faced with Hart's bizarre questions, executives are losing their marbles, unable to reach him for days. The company is on the brink of collapse. Hart finally realizes that the asylum never called. In other words, Henry is just a circus clown. Now Hart is starting to question Hannah too, gripping the little bottle around her neck, saying, "What other treasures are you hiding? What magic lies in this bottle?" The punks want to be heroes, but injured Hart can't fight then. Henry arrives like a savior. Hannah sits on the ground, ears covered in fright, but no worries. Hart dragged her down the hill sneakily. Hart feels guilty facing Henry, who silently takes Hannah to the car. Before entering, Hart wipes his face and finds a mysterious red message. Henry casually says he'll arrange their meeting tomorrow since Hart eagerly wants to see Roland, despite his unreliability. That night, Hart has a bizarre cowhead dream where he sees Hannah soaking in a bathtub in Hannah's room. As Hart nears Hannah, he sees she's surrounded by water, like a pool party. Jolted by a nightmare, Hart rushes to pour water. Shrinking, he feels his teeth loose, almost humming, "Don't leave." He tries to pull a tooth, and it falls out. He realizes something's wrong, time to leave. So he excuses himself with a toothache, calls the nurse for medicine. After she leaves, Hart hastily checks the room setup. He finds Roland in the hospital's no-go leafy section and encounters the elderly neighbor, a true reunion of old friends. The old man is practically toothless, clearly doesn't recognize Hart, and starts yelling his head off, causing the nurses in the elevator. The nurses open the elevator doors, stride to the old man, and cooperative, one swings her fist, while Roland slips in. Arrives at the hospital's deepest point to find bizarre machinery, not showing signs of life. Hart is stumped by the machinery. Suddenly, a noise sends chills down his spine. To his shock, he finds Mary lying there, with shelves full of little bottles that belonged to Hannah. Things are definitely getting. Hart thinks that the wicked experiments from 200 years ago are back in business because he sees the water quality firsthand, but Mary whispers a mind-blowing secret to him. Baroness was pregnant, rid of bad blood by tossing it in water. Amazingly, the kid survived. Hart is left flabbergasted by this revelation, not able to believe what just hit his ears. Hart stumbles, hits shelves, hears nurses rushing, panics, hides in a room, praying not to be found. Once sure no one's watching, Hart lights a smoke. By the flicker, he's stunned everyone's a specimen. He finally finds Roland, drifting quietly, occasionally twitching, terrifying Hart. Hart dashes for the exit, but is caught dead by Henry, quickly claiming he's just a newbie who gets lost easily. He puts on a brave face and pretends to fit in at the asylum by strolling into the sauna room, following other patients in the pool for some wellness exercises. He only grows more uncomfortable, feeling like he's trapped in a house of horror. The longer he stays, the more he feels like a cog in a machine. Finally, Hart decides he must rebel. He recalls the company's call. If that was, his legs might not be injured either. Desperate, he smashes a glass cup, ready to save his legs. Hart discovers his legs are absolutely fine, and mustering the courage, he bashes down the door meant for transporting bodies. After a few steps, Hart finds a large research lab filled with jars, showcasing amazing studies on water quality. He never imagined such a scene underground. Looking around, he hears thuds everywhere. He spots a large water pool, right next to a gurney pile high with bodies. Hart pulls back the sheet and sees Mary, making his heart race. This is no horror story, Hart realizes, hearing a car in the distance. He hides in a panic, but finds his makeshift weapon, the iron tube, by the body. Thankfully, the nurse just glanced at the tube before tossing the body into the water, and in mere moments the body is gone without a trace. Hart breathes a sigh of relief, only for the iron tube to come sailing toward his head. It turns out the nurse meant to ambush him, but her iron tube thunk harmlessly against the steam pipe. Thick smoke rushes towards the nurse's face. Hart seizes the moment to strike hard. Now with proof, he's ready to expose Henry. He strides into the cafeteria and spills everything he's witnessed. Hart's words send the crowd into a frenzy, and one person stands up in response. Hart is thrown into the bubble rice party, surrounded by brainwashed patients who won't believe his tales. When Hart regains consciousness, he finds himself strapped into a machine. Henry states that Hart is completely contaminated and must be purified. It's a divine cleansing destined to purge Hart of his oopses, and awaiting him is a hefty water bottle. Hart looks around and sees bottles under everyone's machine. No wonder they cherish them. Henry approaches with a mask, ready for the grand festival of Bottle Town to kick off. Make no choice but to subscribe for Hart's thrilling adventures ahead.